All right. Well, we are live after another thrilling game by
Oh
the
man.
Cincinnati Bengals,
Oh man.
where they went absolutely nuts in
Oh my
that fourth
gosh.
quarter. Yeah.
I
I
was
mean,
stress eating. I was, oh my lord. I was
yeah.
stress vomiting. I was then stress eating some more. I was just, man, it was crazy. Oh,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. I mean,
Tony by there.
24 points in the fourth quarter. And it's not just the points, it's they happened in so many ways. We had defense, we had offense, we had Andy Dalton making plays we haven't seen before. We had rookies stepping up, making clutch plays. I mean, it was really a sight to behold, and I think it speaks about this team. I've said they're fighters, they're different from years before, and they're playing at home, and they were not going to let this one slip away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, John,
And,
yeah, go ahead.
can I just say something? And I want to hear, of course, what others have to say. But I mean, didn't I get the feeling this year when I watched the Bengals? I don't know if I know this team. This is not the team. This is not the Bengals that I know. They've become. It's almost like the comeback has become our signature style this year, which is not
Hmm.
the way the Bengals were. They were not a clutch team.
Right.
I mean, and the thing I think about when a team is a clutch team is that means that they're performing at the level at the end of the game that they could have very well been performing at the beginning of the game, but something motivates them to perform at that full level. And my question is, okay, I'm so psyched that we won, and it was amazing to win in that way, and I love being a clutch team. I do. That being said, I wonder why they can't just score those 27 points in the first half or 24 points in the first half and then three in the second half. What is going on with the
But
Bengals? Yeah.
isn't that kind of the whole like point and like mystery behind this team? Because week one, right? They don't come alive until the second half against the Colts. Week two,
Yeah.
they score like 28 points in the first half against the Ravens, and they're shut out in the second half. Week
Yeah.
three, you know, a multitude of errors happened all throughout the game. Week four, last week, they're on fire in the first half, and then things kind of slowed down in the second half, and then it gets flipped again. So they're not a first half team, they're not a second half team. They're just a team that can't put two halves of good football together so far. Luckily, they're 4-1 because of it, but it was just, I agree with you, though. It was weird in the game where they got, excuse me, Joe Mixon and Vontaze Burfict back. Mixon is the spark and catalyst on the offense.
Right.
Burfict is that on the defense. And they just looked flat in that first half. I have no idea why. I don't know if it was the heat that was getting to them. I don't know if the Dolphins were doing things that they weren't game planning for, but they just came out with no energy, no spark at all, and that was part of the reason why they were down 17 points into the first half, and it's just inexcusable. And you're not going to always come back and score 27 unanswered points in the second half to win a game like that. So they definitely got lucky for the most part. It was just a case of being more lucky than good because they had a couple good plays go for them, and that's just not going to happen, for the rest of the season against other good teams.
Right. Against
I'm
better
kind of,
teams because the Dolphins
yeah,
are not. Let's just put
the
this out there.
Dolphins.
Are not
Okay,
a
I'm
good
really
team.
confused here. So we're talking about the Bengals hanging 24 points on a team that was 3-1, 24 points in the fourth quarter, winning by double digits, and we're saying this is not a recipe for success because
It's not sustainable.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. John and I are all about sustainability, which is something you would not get because of your own, how shall we say, capitalist views of burning through fossil fuels. We get sustainability. This is not sustainable. This is not the solar energy of how you run a football team.
this is
I
just
mean,
very, yeah, this is
it's
very,
not going to work against the. You know what I'm worried because I said this in the Hodgescope this week. I'm worried about when we play the Steelers because this is not going to work against the Steelers because psychologically they've always had that edge on the Bengals, the intimidation factor, which I've never understood. And I worry about this game, which means so much to Bengals fans, including this Bengals fan right here with the big belly. I'm worried about how that's going to work out if we don't step it up right from the beginning, because the Steelers actually are a comeback team too.
yeah. Well, okay. So I'm a little confused here because the problem with the Bengals before has been that they didn't have enough fights, that they didn't win when they needed to, didn't make the clutch plays, didn't make adjustments. And now we see them making all of these things, making the adjustments, against a good team, and we're not okay with it. Let me remind you that Super Bowl teams in the past, let's say like the New York Giants, they're not great teams overall, but they come through. Let's say the Ravens, 2012 Ravens. They have their flaws, but they have fights. I don't know if we've had the talent. We've had the ones where we're blowing out the opponents at home by 20 points. Who cares? I want a team that is going to fight when it gets ugly, when there's injuries, when it's cold, when it's late in the season. And
but I think we've established that this is that kind of team, that's the culture that's in, and it's obviously great. It's obviously a positive that we can celebrate and enjoy about. But the fact that through 5 games, 4 wins, mind you, in those 5 games, they just haven't put a complete game together, and that's just a cause for concern, in my opinion.
Yes, and let me piggyback on that and say, nice to meet you. This is Hodgie Smoji. I've always been the comeback clutch guy. I love that. That's why I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan. So Dadio, I'm all for all this. But think about this particular game, okay? Think about how if there wasn't that fumble, if there wasn't that interception, there were a few things in this game that if they didn't happen just so, and there was actually a few calls against the Dolphins. If those little pieces didn't,
then we would have just scored more points in the fourth quarter. I mean, I'm not understanding.
It doesn't work like that. It doesn't, because what happens. This is why we lose playoff games, because
this team is finding itself.
If you're the kind of person who always shows up at the last minute for a meeting,
when you have playmaking rookies like Jesse Bates and Sam Hubbard, they're doing their thing. Eventually, the problem with our team has been the tackling. Okay, Vontaze is just getting back in shape, and the tackling is going to be back. Preston Brown got injured. You guys are not being reasonable at all.
We are being very.
So I want to go through some of the.
Let's go through. Go through the plays. Let's go through.
Okay. So we see early on. We see interesting to see that Uzomah was getting involved with the in the short passing game. Both of his passes, his catches were these kind of a strange, and I take the one here, kind of these screen passes. So John, is this going to be help offset the loss of Eifert, in your opinion? Is this something we can look forward to? Is this Bill Lazor getting creative?
Uzomah has always been the guy that can get some yards after catch, whether it's on bootlegs or screens, and that's kind of the more traditional things that you would see from a tight end. I want to see how they use him as a vertical threat going forward, because that's obviously an aspect that was lost with Eifert. And I think in the first half, we saw that the Dolphins, even though AJ Green played a very good game, we saw the Dolphins, have success taking away the first and second options for Dalton in the passing game, because they didn't have to worry about John Ross or Tyler Eifert in this case. And Uzomah is just not going to command that level of respect that Eifert did. And I think Joe Goodberry wrote a good article about this, where Uzomah can replicate the production that Eifert can give you, but he can't replicate the impact that he has on the rest of the offense and that kind of threat that the defense always has to account for. So I want to see how they target Uzomah down the field, because we know he's an athlete that can run with the ball after the catch and can pick up some solid yards on these kinds of plays. And they're good plays, to have in the playbook and whatnot. But I want to see the evolution of his role into the offense.
And I think Lazor can work with him on that. Lazor's done a really good job of building up this offense. I mean, and the different even the weak links, he's been able to do a lot with.
Yeah, and another thing that I liked with Lazor was the fact that the way he used Mixon. There were a couple of plays where you're like, it looks so good.
Mixon had a decent game for coming back from an injury. I mean, it wasn't a bad game, really.
Look at these runs here. Look at this one.
115 yards, 25 touches. He had a touchdown. I mean, Joe Mixon had a solid game, really.
I like the burst here. Look at this, John. Look at this burst.
This is a good burst.
Daddy, I think it was
a star burst.
I think it was you who said that this team kind of runs through Mixon, and I just thought it was interesting how in the first half, I think it was like 40 yards on 16 carries. They had no points. You really turned it on in the second half, and everything just started to change a little bit. And you can see that impact that he has on the rest of the offense and the offensive linemen, and getting aggressive in the run game. It was just weird how, as the game progressed and as Mixon's day evolved into what was, I think, 4.2 yards per carry on 22 carries, they ended up doing a lot better. It was just kind of interesting to me.
Yeah,
it's like a Tesla. It's got insane mode. It's got ludicrous mode, and I feel like when he's in, it's ludicrous mode.
Yeah, but and the biggest change that we've seen, the biggest progress, honestly, we've seen is with Andy Dalton, because he's always been able to do a number of things, within the system. But now we're seeing him do things outside of a system, outside of a playbook. And look at this. Look at this touch pass right here. Look at that beautiful touch.
Oh gosh, it was honestly, it was like when Star Trek, when they just beam me up, Scotty. He just beamed the ball to him. It was amazing. Yeah. But look, here's the thing about Dalton.
And look at this. Hold on. Yeah. Let's see. Look at this one here. Look at this one. Outside of the pocket. Running outside the pockets.
Oh yeah.
Look at that.
I mean, it's amazing. But look. Here's the thing about Andy Dalton. He had a solid game and he won. And in my book of quarterbacks, it's when the quarterback wins the game, that's good enough. You don't get into the nitty-gritty of how they won it, and you don't want to look too much into the soup. You never know what you're going to find. But that being said, I got to say about Andy Dalton, even the interception he threw, I was happy with, because he took a risk. He threw a bullet, but it was a miscalculation. That's fine. The thing about Andy Dalton this game and the Bengals offense this game that deserves criticism is the third down conversion rate. The third down game, that was the problem.
Well, John, it's funny, he wrote an article and it came out, I think, this morning about how the problem is on the third downs, that the third downs are so long. But let's be honest, we haven't had Mixon that much. And so
but even this game, we're talking about the 2 out of 11.
Well, Mixon,
2 out of 11 third down efficiency.
Look at this. Dan Dalton to start the fourth quarter. It's one of my favorite plays of his.
This was a low for us today. The third down efficiency.
Look at this. Look at this.
Oh, I love that. This is beautiful. This is beautiful.
John,
this is elite.
Do you remember
and the guys, let me just interrupt you, Dadio, as I want to do. The announcers, because I was listening with these you listen to my anti-Bengalism horoscope this week. The anti-Bengal announcers were talking about Andy Dalton. They were like, this guy's only a top 10. He's not a top 5. What are you talking about? He's not a top 5. He's a top 1.
Yeah.
He's a top 1.
And so
you were going to ask you. I interrupted you as you were going to ask John, and John's got the
smart. John. I mean, can you remember Dalton making these kind of plays ever? I mean,
well, yeah, but I think that just throughout the year, Dalton's been one of the more accurate quarterbacks on all levels of the field. I think that was something that's really elevated along with him extending these kinds of plays, and it was this play, and I think one of the plays to AJ Green, where Green kind of adjusted his route as Dalton rolled out. And those are 2 crucial plays that we don't see that often because, Bengals receivers don't, besides AJ Green, don't do a good job of, adjusting the routes and going back to the ball. And that's exactly what Mixon did here. That's what Green did on that other play. Dalton's confidence and level of play has picked up. And as a result, the receivers, have prospered because of it.
Now let's get to the real meat of the game. And that is the clutch defensive plays.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Oh, they were nice.
Fucking wild. Yeah. Excuse me. Crazy.
That's okay. We're live. We cannot censor that. So let me
it was like a duck walking. The Dolphins offense was like a duck walking.
Look.
Okay, so here first I want to go to Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson. Every year it's like, why is this guy on our team? And what does he do?
I've never said that.
No, yeah, of course not. But
I've always been pro Michael.
So last year he comes and he gives us 5 sacks. Let's see what he did in this game. So
you got
now, mind you, this is against the Dolphins' backup left tackle.
This was amazing. This was amazing. This was just beautiful.
And the Bengals fans love to see that because he's so beloved. He's such an incredible veteran presence.
When have we ever gotten interceptions off of someone's head?
I mean, show the Dre was really good today. I mean, Dre had a really nice day today.
I think he did.
He had a nice pass breakup at the end. He was
active. He was doing his job. We notice defensive players when they do the big stuff like this, which is great. But I mean, the level of play was very high. And you know what impresses me most about the Bengals defense this year is the lack of penalties that we used to get. We get a lot more penalties and lose a lot more yards with penalties. But this year, it's been very clean and very just professional. I love the amount of professionalism that we're seeing. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I wonder if people lost some money today because they bet that Vontaze was going to get flagged for some personal fouls, and he didn't. He played within the rules. He played a decent game for his first game back.
He really did, man. He looked good. Not great. Not the Vontaze of yore, but I mean, he looked pretty good. I thought pretty solid.
And we can celebrate Johnson's plays. We can also celebrate Hubbard's play, but it doesn't excuse the fact that for the vast majority of the game, it was Geno Atkins and nobody else getting off blocks and pass rushing. And Brian Tannehill had a lot of time to survey his options and throw the ball down the field. And I think that was also a concern because Carl Lawson didn't step up against Tunsil and then the backup left tackle. Obviously, Dunlap had that great sack at the end. He kind of comes through in the most clutch situations. But besides Geno Atkins, the defensive line was kind of just inactive today for the most part. They just couldn't get off blocks. But if you just make enough plays towards the end of the game, it just doesn't matter sometimes.
They certainly slowed them down. I mean, there was some sloppiness toward the end of the first half, but they certainly slowed them down. The Dolphins are not a massively impressive team. So today's performance certainly shouldn't suggest that the Bengals have nothing to worry about. But still, I mean, look, we're 4-1. You might as well enjoy what you got.
I do not understand this conversation. I mean, look at these sacks by Geno, and then I want to look at the other clutch plays. Let's see here. When the Sam Hubbard, Dunlap gets the strip sack. I don't know. Did it end up being a sack or interception? I don't know, but
it was a strip sack.
Okay, so let's see here. Dunlap, very clutch defender. Get the strip sack. Yeah, and Hubbard.
Beautiful. Hubbard was awake. He had his caffeine this morning because I mean he was like that. The reaction time between that dropping the ball and getting a touchdown was super fast.
And then here we go with Bates, game-sealing interception. I mean, what is this team, guys? I mean, how are you guys frustrated?
I still don't know.
Well, that intercept.
No, hold on, John. Where are we? The third youngest team in the league. Yeah. I mean, you guys expect all the parts to be. I mean, this is exactly what we want. We want to see the cohesion. We want to see the talent, and we want to see we want to see the final product later in the year. We don't want to see them peaking now. We don't want to see them peaking now. But they're showing the attributes. They're showing the traits of a championship team. So why are you guys complaining?
I am happy that they're 4-1. I'm happy that they won this game. I'm just saying that there are concerns to watch going forward. They haven't put together a complete game yet.
Concerns for opponents. Concerns for other teams. Yeah.
We're analysts, Dadio. That's our job. We're paid. Well, we're not paid, but we do this.
We got money for puppets, and the puppets are coming. I promise you. The puppets.
You should give people a puppet update because there's been some.
Yes, we have an update. So I found Rachel Burson, and you guys talk while I find the email, which she told me. Hold on, let's see here.
Yeah, you want me just like talk about anything?
She's the puppet maker. Yeah, so she's the puppet maker, and she says she's really busy making puppets for other people, not for her. She's making a lot of puppets, and she said, "Yeah." I'm building like a crazy person. I'll be able to finally jump on your puppets next week. She means that like I start working on them. The puppets aren't made for her to jump on them yet. I start building the internal.
Those are expensive puppets. No one should be jumping.
Yeah, no one should be jumping on. I'll start building up the internal structure, and it'll take a few weeks to complete them since I'm juggling another build. So she's gonna start soon, and then a few weeks, hopefully by the end of October, we see. But that is really, I think we covered everything we want to cover. Unless you guys have.
Is she a fan of the show, Rachel?
She's a fan of the Bengals. She's a fan of the Bengals. So I don't know if
by default she's a fan of the show.
Are there Bengals fans who are not fans of the show? Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. The Reddit guys. I mean, I don't know if there are Reddit guys out there. They tend not to take too kindly to our show. The Reddit Bengals.
Well, they like they like the more analytical ones. They like the stuff with John. So look, that is really, I think, is a quick recap, and I think we covered all the bases. But
off to the Steelers, man! Off to the Steelers.
God, I'm ready.
We try to do a preview. Let's see of the Steelers if we have time.
Oh, gosh.
Also, we're gonna do
that. So stressful. Do you guys get stressful like the week before?
I don't even want to watch the game.
We almost beat them last year. We had a terrible team. We almost beat them last year.
It's too much, though.
These guys are too negative.
No, you guys are too negative. The rivalry, it's become so. I mean, I think the Bengals Steelers rivalry at this point is so, the opposite of sportsmanlike and the opposite of what sports is supposed to be about. I mean, it's just become heavy. It's become heavy. It's like it's you don't even enjoy the win because it's so much stress. Shouldn't be like this.
Well, we're gonna win.
Other rivalries are not like this.
Don't stress. We're gonna win the game.
There's a bit of give and take and a bit of just joking around with other rivals. This rivalry is dangerous. It's toxic. It's a toxic rivalry.
It is, but we're gonna blow them out. We're gonna blow them off the water because they're so bad on defense. We're so good on offense now.
Well, they look good. Steelers look really good.
We're gonna be better. John Ross is gonna be back. We're gonna be better on offense.
Look, the Steelers are the Steelers, like the Patriots. They're the kind of team where, sometimes what you see early on in the year has no indication of what you're going to see later on in the year. And I mean, they're starting to. I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, but it's not so clean cut.
Sounding like. We'll see. Maybe we do a Steelers preview. We're going to do NFL Film School later in the week with John, Tuesday or Wednesday probably. And then we probably try to have the Hodgescope. If you haven't seen those, check those out. They are very enlightening.
I've got some stuff to say.
Yes, and that is all.
What else is new?
That is all we have for this show. We will see you next time. Sweetie pie.